In this review we're looking at a truck model, and it's in the colours of the equipment manufacturer Sennebogen. The box is in the typical green colour of Sennebogen, and the model is a Mercedes-Benz 3-axle Arocs tractor with a 5-axle trailer, and the box has a photo of the model on it. If we turn the box around and then flip a somersault, we can see that this model is made by Conrad, and it's model number 78172.
Let's weigh it up.
Onto the weighbridge it goes, and it weighs £1 13 ounces, which is 835 grams. Let's open the box and see what's inside. Conrad does have a particular packaging style for some of its models, and that applies to this one. What comes out is a piece of cardboard with foam backing, and if we open that up we can see the model inside, and it is protected well. There's the trailer, the tractor, and a bag of parts. In true Conrad style, we have to fit the mirrors and aerials, and the first thing you need to do is to break them off of the moulding sprue. But that's okay, it's a little bit of light finger exercise. We move on to the more technical part, which is to fit the mirrors and aerials. And these are an easy fit into the pre-formed holes in the cab. It is a good thing that the fit is good, because it means that they won't easily drop out. The small mirror over the cab door is not silvered. Lastly, there's only one aerial to fit, and as long as you hold it properly, it goes in easily. The last thing to do is to connect up trailer and tractor, and clunk, click, does the trick.
Let's weigh it up again.
The whole model goes onto the weighbridge, and it comes in at just about £1 8 ounces. Or 690 grams. We start underneath the Arocs, and at the front the modelling is more functional, including the steering. Moving back though, and it's much more detailed with the tanks and drive shaft modelled, and the rear axles are modelled in plastic. There are decent tyres, front and rear. On the roof of the cab is a large beacon light, and at the front there is a plastic visor. The mirror and window surrounds are all in black, and there's the usual windscreen wipers, and the Arocs grille does stand out, particularly in this colour scheme. In addition to the Sennebogen name, there's an Arocs graphic and a Mercedes-Benz steering wheel, but there's no number plate on this truck. Viewed side on, there's some Sennebogen decoration, and there are some nice touches such as the door handle and the textured steps which lead up to the cab. The wheels are detailed. The back of the cab has the detail cast in, and there's a plastic air intake, but there are no coiled lines. But there are textured stepping plates, and the tanks have filler caps. The wheel arches are also plastic, like the original. Things look a bit plain at the back because there's no number plate. And moving on to the trailer, we see that the structure is modelled well. There are plastic landing legs, and a large plastic bolt secures the gooseneck. Each of the axles is made up of plastic parts, and there are plastic stabilisers at the rear. Right side up, there are a couple of spare wheels at the front, and also some plastic wheel chocks. There's some nice texturing on top of the gooseneck, and there is the Sennebogen name on the side. Moving down the trailer, there are more good surface textures, and there's also yellow warning stripes moving down the edges. The wheels on the trailer are simply modelled in plastic. At the back there are a couple of large metal ramps. We go back under the Arocs and we see that the steering is excellent with a very tight angle. It's good that the rear wheels spin individually, and there is some float in the rear axles as if to represent suspension. Out onto the Cranes Etc. Autobahn and the Arocs rolls well enough. And the biggest plus point is the steering, and you get a really sharp turning circle. Looking underneath the trailer, and each of the wheels spins individually, and there is linked steering joining all of the axles. And you can also see that it is proportional with the rear axles turning more than the front ones. The landing legs at the front can be lowered, and they seem to basically push up and down. The same is also true of the stabilisers at the back, so you can simulate loading sequences accurately. With the tractor and trailer joined, everything works well enough with all of the wheels rotating, and there's good suspension on the trailer. Let's now check the trailer out with the steering set, and it poses well, and it also looks good when you're actually driving it along. And again, you can achieve a good sharp turning circle. One small feature is that there are pull-out beams along the side of the trailer, and if we set down the rear stabilisers, we can simulate loading. The big ramps are hinged, and they work well to get to the loading position. There's also a possibility to move each one sideways. Previous versions of this trailer were extendable, but this one isn't because Sennebogen didn't want that functionality. One thing that is the same though is the provision of metal deck posts, and these press into holes in the trailer deck, and then you might need to adjust them to get them straight. This truck is in Sennebogen colours, so of course it does look good with a Sennebogen load on. This is another robustly made model by Conrad. It has functionality, although it is surprising that the extendability of the trailer has been removed, but it does serve its purpose of being a good looking carrier of Sennebogen equipment. By current standards, it's not the most detailed of models, but it's well made and it suits its intended purpose. Overall, it is rated as good.